It's time for another short series you can collect for cheap video, but this time all five of the series I'm going to recommend are 8 issues or less. Hey everyone, it's Kevin. Welcome back to Doc's Comics. I've done a lot of videos like this of short series or long series that are relatively inexpensive that I think you would have a decent time and a fun time collecting. And given that we are still in shutdown and everything else, I figured I'd try to stick to some inexpensive things that you might be able to collect. And today I'm going to do 5 more short series from 3 different companies that are 8 issues or less that I think you can collect relatively cheaply and relatively easily. And today I am going to start with Anthro. Anthro is another series that started off in Showcase, and I did a video of Showcase short series that I have collected over the years, and I hadn't finished Anthro at the time. I still needed number 6, but I have got it in the meantime. So Anthro's first appearance was actually in Showcase number 74 from March of 1968, but it got its own series. This is the first issue here, and it lasts for a total of 6 issues from August of 1968 until August of 1969. It is the brainchild of cartoonist Howard Post, who wrote and did the illustration in all 6 of the issues, except for number 6, where Wally Wood does the inking chores on that one with that cool Betty versus Veronica pseudo tribute cover. Anthro is essentially the first cave boy that is born during the Stone Age. And it talks about his caveman stories. Obviously, it didn't last very long and it didn't catch on very much, and so it had a very short lifespan. You can get this series really inexpensively, and as a matter of fact, you should be able to get all of the books in decent shape, somewhere between $10 and $20. If you're looking for lower grade, you should be able to get it less than that. But if you are a high grade collector like I am, one of the big problems is that this book seems to be pretty scarce in high grade. You can find very good and fine copies all day on eBay and elsewhere, but if you're looking for something like very fine near mint or better, like I tend to do, it did take a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So it does seem to be scarcer. One fun fact about Anthro is that he does actually make a cameo appearance in issue number 2 of Crisis on Infinite Earths. To be fair, just about every DC character made an appearance in that series at the time, but nevertheless, Anthro is a short, inexpensive series that I think you have a pretty good chance of finding. The second series that I'll recommend, and this one comes from Marvel, it's Black Goliath. Black Goliath, first issue was in February of 1976, and it only lasts for 5 issues, with the final one coming out in November of that same year, 1976. Just like Anthro, Black Goliath's first appearance is not in Black Goliath. His first appearance is actually in Power Man, issue number 24, and that's a moderately expensive book to get. If you want a high grade one, you could probably expect to pay $50 for it, maybe less if you're a little unlucky. But these issues are pretty doggone cheap. First issue you should be able to find for $10, and the rest maybe even significantly less than that. One fun fact about Black Goliath is that all 5 issues are penciled by a different penciler. So kind of cool there. But on the inside, you have George Tuska, who pencils the first 3 issues. Issue number 4 is done by Don Heck, and issue number 5 is done by Keith Pollard. You might know a little bit about Black Goliath. His alias is Bill Foster. He's a former colleague of Hank Pym. And there's a period in Tales to Astonish or Avengers, I can't remember which, where Hank Pym gets stuck in his giant man form, and he uses Hal Foster to try to help him find a way to reverse it. The first appearance of Bill Foster, believe it or not, is actually in Avengers number 32, so he's been around quite a long time, and Black Goliath has made a few sporadic appearances. His most famous ones was probably in the Serpent Crown affair that meandered through a few issues of Marvel 2-in-1, where he teams up with a Thing amongst a few others. But Black Goliath also made some prominent appearances in Champions and the Defenders. You might know Bill Foster also. He does make an appearance in the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, and he is portrayed by Lawrence Fishburne. So another fun, easy, short, inexpensive series that I think you can get your hands on. The third series that I'll cover today is the longest series at 8 issues in this video, and that is the first volume of Groo the Wanderer, which was published by Pacific Comics. Issue number 1 was released in December of 1982, and it lasts 8 issues until April of 1984. Again, similar to the first two series that I've done, the first appearance of Groo is actually not in Groo. It's in Destroyer Duck number one, which came out in October of 1982. And I talk a little bit about Destroyer Duck number one in a video I did previously on undervalued comics because I think it is undervalued. And Groo has a second appearance in issue number 5 of Star Slayer, which comes out the next month in November of 1982, before finally releasing as an 8-issue series on its own by Pacific, the same company. Y'all might know a little bit about Groo. It is the masterwork of Mark Evanier, Sergio Aragonis, Tom Luth, and Stan Sakai. In addition to this 8-issue miniseries by Pacific, which introduces a lot of the long-standing supporting characters that we see throughout the entire series. I mean, Groo has pretty much been published since then, although there have been a few gaps here and there. After this 8-issue series, there was a one-shot that was done by Eclipse Comics, and then Epic got the license from them and published it for 120 issues until it is ultimately picked up by Image. Image does a 12-issue miniseries, and since then it is published by Dark Horse, and Dark Horse has done a number of 4-issue miniseries for quite a few years on Groo the Wanderer. Anyway, referring to this first series, you might know a little bit about Groo. He's like an idiotic barbarian that kind of stumbles into adventure, and even though he screws everything up in every single issue, it always seems to turn out okay for him and okay for at least all the good guys in his immediate environs. Prices on this series vary widely. There used to be a period where this 8-issue series was pretty doggone expensive, but you can get all of them now somewhere between $5 and $30 for a high grade copy. If you want lower grade, of course, you don't have to pay quite as much as that. But similar to Anthro, a lot of these early issues from the Pacific Run are kind of hard to find, so you might have to dig a little bit in order to have a little luck to get them. But once you find them, they shouldn't be too doggone expensive. Next on the list is another series from Marvel. This one is Logan's Run, which lasts for a total of 7 issues. Issue number 1 comes out in January of 1977, and number 7, the final issue, comes out in July 1977, so it is a monthly release. Similar to Star Wars, Logan's Run begins as a movie adaptation, and the first 5 issues are an adaptation of the feature film of the same name that came out in the same year. It's written predominantly by David Kraft, and the miniseries, or at least the first 5 issues, are illustrated by the late great George Perez. Similar to Star Wars, however, once the adaptation of the feature film is over, they try to do a few more issues, kind of expanding on the universe and taking a little more, well, having a little more freedom to kind of expand things the way that they want, going beyond the canon of the film. But unlike Star Wars, Logan's Run doesn't prove nearly as successful, and it only goes for 2 more issues after the end of the movie adaptation before they decide to hang up the series altogether. Both issues do have different creator teams. Interestingly, number 6 is illustrated by Mike Zeck, and issue number 7 is illustrated by Tom Sutton. One fun fact about Logan's Run is that issue number 6, that first issue after the movie adaptation, it is the first solo story of Thanos. So interesting to know about there. This series is also pretty inexpensive. Honestly, you should be able to get all 7 issues, even the first one and even number 6, for $15 or less. And those two might cost you $5 more than everything else. So you should be able to get the entire series for, I don't know, $75, maybe even less than that, in very high grade. As I say with every series, if you're looking for lower grade, you don't mind lower condition, you should pay significantly less, and these are not terribly hard to find. The last short series that I'll cover today is probably the most difficult one to finish because it is the most expensive, and it might be the toughest for you to find all of the issues, and that's Shanna the She-Devil. Shanna the She-Devil lasts for 5 issues. This is the actual first appearance of Shanna the She-Devil. Issue number 1 comes out in December of 1972, and it lasts until number 5, as I told you, which comes out in August of 1973. As I said, it's probably the toughest of the 5 that I've listed for you today. And Shanna is one of a number of books that kind of marks an era where Marvel tries to give more women, female characters headline books where they star in their own titles. A couple of others that you might be familiar with. The Cat comes out right around the same time. And then the very difficult to find Night Nurse is also during this era as well. Probably the most famous, the one that lasts the longest, is Ms. Marvel. But other than Ms. Marvel, the other three, Cat, Shanna, and Night Nurse, all last for 5 issues or less. So not terribly successful, unfortunately. Um, One of the cool things about Shanna the She-Devil is that the first 2 issues, issues 1 and 2, are both done by Jim Steranko, and they're both really nice covers. But the series itself suffers from a lot of the problems that many series that Marvel was doing during that period of time. It had a number of different writers, I think 3 different writers in the 5 issues. The art was done predominantly by Ross Andrew. I think he does issues 2 through 5 on this. A couple of interesting first appearances as well. Issue 4 is the first appearance of Mandrill, and issue number 5 is the first appearance of Necra, who is used in later in the Marvel Universe as well. I told you this one is a little more expensive. You could expect to spend $100 if you're looking for a high grade copy of issue number 1. It drops off significantly after that, where issues 2 through 5, if you're looking for high grade copy, should run you somewhere in that $20 to $25 range. I probably wouldn't pay any more than that, but it is a challenging short series to get. I'd say the Cat might be a little easier than Shanna, and Night Nurse, of course, far and away is much more difficult. Anyway, that's 5 other short series that I think you might have a lot of fun trying to collect. I hope your quest goes successfully in that endeavor should you decide to do so. That's it for now. I will see you all in the next video. Again, as always, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.